Hello! So I thought I might make do on my promise and actually make a video about movies. So here is 2011 in film, the best of so far. So I actually had to make a list because it's a lot to remember. So my favourite film of the year is Source Code, directed by Duncan Jones, starring Jake Gyllenhaal. Now, I went into this movie, it kind of had the same effect that Inception did, that I went in thinking it was some kind of cool action movie with, you know, nice little story, and I would have had some fun in it. And I was actually surprised when, just like Inception, it took it to that very emotional level, that very sort of really deep story that you don't get in a whole lot of movies these days. And it blew my mind. There's one great shot really close to the end that I won't spoil for you, but that was sort of the moment that I went, holy shit, this is a really great movie. X-Men First Class, no description really needed. It's directed by Matthew Vaughn, who did Kick-Ass and Stardust before it. It has a great ensemble cast, perfect script. It is the best X-Men film so far, and if not one of the best superhero movies so far. It's up there with Iron Man, The Dark Knight, and Spider-Man 2 as some of just the best writing and movie making in comic book history. Like, it really is. Scream 4, which I was really surprised about. I hadn't seen any of the Scream movies until this year, and what I did on my 20th birthday, I marathoned all 3 Scream movies in a row, loved them to pieces, and then I went to the cinemas and saw Scream 4, and it was awesome. It's directed by Wes Craven, who invented most of the horror genres that he's kind of ripping off in this very metafictional film he's done. And Scream 4 features all the original cast from the first 3 movies, including Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox and David Arquette. And Courtney Cox, they used to be married, but they're not now, but that's a totally different story. It's a really great parody. It's a very intelligent parody, unlike those certain films by those certain people that we will not mention. It's a really funny movie, really unique, and it has one of the best opening sequences ever. The Adjustment Bureau, which really surprised me, because all the trailers portrayed it as like this action thriller thing about people who could manipulate the world, and Matt Damon's caught up in it all. And when I went there, what I actually got was a really heartwarming, really funny, and really well told story about destiny. It's got Matt Damon and Emily Blunt in it, who are always good. Always. It was a really great movie, and I got something more than I expected, because I was just thinking it was a nice action movie of the week, and it was really, really well done. This one's going to shock people. It was I Am Number 4. Now, a lot of people criticise this movie because, like, oh, they're just copying the Twilight movie, and they've just got that British kid who was in the Alex Rider movie. But no, I actually thought it was, for one, it was a lot better than Twilight, because they could actually act. Alex Pettyfer kind of loses his accent in the beginning of the movie, but he manages to hold it for the rest of it. There's a great turn from Diane Agron, who's known for Glee, and she did a really good job as it's almost like a total reversal of her character that she uses in Glee. And there was a great newcomer, Callan McAuliffe, who is an Australian actor who's appearing in some really obscure film, and then he does this really great turn and pretty much stole the movie from the lead actor. It's directed by DJ Caruso, who did Eagle Eye and Disturbia, Rear Window. But it was a really well done movie. I love the special effects were great, as they always are when they're done by George Lucas's company. And there was a lot of in-camera effects, which made it sort of much more enjoyable than seeing a bunch of people fighting with invisible CGI. 6 is Sucker Punch. Now, this one sort of divided audiences right down the middle, because some people hated it and some people absolutely loved it. And I loved it. It wasn't the best movie of the year, but I loved it. I think the problem was that a lot of people went into it thinking it was going to be either just this total action schlock fest, or people went into it thinking it was going to be something like Inception. And it's neither of those two things. It's sort of it's metafictional in that it sort of does these weird comments on pop culture and the fact that he meshes up all the, you know, there's dragons and robots and ninjas and ninja robots and all that sort of stuff. But it had a reasonable story. I wanted to add a bit more sort of at the beginning before it goes into that whole sequence. I thought that kind of overruled it, but it was a very well told story, and the ending kind of sold it for me, because they did a very sort of American Beauty thing where they cut to black and then say a line, and I'm a sucker for that. So I thought it was pretty good. Thor, because I went in wanting a great Hollywood blockbuster movie, and that is exactly what you get with that movie. There are no pretensions. It's nice, it's big, the special effects were well done, some of it was a bit off. It was a great story, it was very funny, there was a lot of good performances in there, especially from Natalie Portman, who I still can't seem to shake Black Swan out. Every time I see her, I see, you know, lesbians and feathers and gore, and yeah, we're not going to go into that. Honourable mentions go to Pirates of the Caribbean 4, not as good as the first or the third, but better than the second. Unknown, I love a good thriller, Liam Neeson's always great. What If Elephants, Robert Pattinson can actually act, and Christoph Waltz is in it, who was awesome in Inglourious Bastards. He steals the show pretty much. And The Lincoln Lawyer, which proved that Matthew McConaughey does actually have some acting ability. Stay tuned for part 2, in which I'll be talking about the best of 2011 still to come.
This has been a presentation by